Well, good evening, and thank you all so much for joining the Women's Fund of Smith County as we announce our 2021 grant recipients. Welcome to our first ever virtual Grants Awards. Can you believe it? We're streaming live on Facebook. This year has given us all many opportunities to try new things and to grow, and so it only makes sense that we would have a virtual Grants Awards this year. As we celebrate together, many of you are behind a screen. Wherever you may be, please join me in honoring our members of our board of directors, 25 women who lead our organization with fearless vision, wisdom, and compassion for the community. We are a giving circle, and while we can't all be together tonight, we do believe that together is better. Through collective giving, we transform our community by funding programs that enrich the lives of women and children. I'd like to take this moment to introduce our 2021 chair. You all may recall that Jonna served as chair last year, but since 2021 was such an unusual time, she has agreed to come back and do it all over again. Jonna, please come up.
Thank you, Zoe. I am so happy to be back for another year. And I'm excited to try innovative and new things, such as a virtual grants announcement. Tonight, we celebrate the heart of our mission, our gifts to our community. But before we begin, I want to recognize and thank our generous event underwriters, friends of the Women's Fund of Smith County. Thank you for making sure that our membership dollars go directly to fund these incredible grants that impact the lives of so many women and children throughout our community.
If it's okay, Jonna, there is a certain individual that I'd like to recognize individually. And though her career path has led her to a new adventure, Kristen Sieber has always moved the mission of the Women's Fund forward with such grace and love. And that's something that 2020 did not change. Kristen, would you join us up here for just a minute? We wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
And we came prepared.
Kristen always needs tissues, so we're prepared.
I am. Thank you.
We appreciate you, Kristen, and all that you've done for our giving circle and for our community. And just know how very much you are loved and appreciated.
Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I don't.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All I just want to say is this is certainly not about one person, and it's certainly not about one moment in time. This is a moment for all of us and for our community to celebrate, and I will count it as a blessing because it's been one of the richest of my life. So thank you all so very much.
And thank you for joining us tonight.
I skipped a little bit about what I was going to say, but I want to finish it to put that all in context. But I did recently come to work for the Women's Fund as the president in Kristen's footsteps. But it was through Kristen's leadership, standing shoulder to shoulder with the over 300 members of our giving circle who helped make this evening possible. And your legacy of leadership continues to guide us, and we love you. We're just so glad you're here tonight.
Welcome, Women's Fund members, nonprofits, and community supporters. I thank everyone joining us, not only tonight, but day after day, especially some of the long days of 2020 as we work together to serve our community. I've said it before, a lot can happen in a year. We will remember 2020 for so many reasons, but as members of the Women's Fund of Smith County, we will share a collective 2020 memory. And that is 2020 as the year we broke records together. Tonight I am proud and excited to share the news of what our Giving Circle accomplished in 2020, leading us to this celebratory announcement tonight. Because of our membership growth, record membership, I might add, even in a pandemic year, and responsible stewardship, our grant awards tonight total more than ever before in a single year. So, the moment that you've all joined us for. The Women's Fund of Smith County is pleased to announce that tonight we will grant a grand total of $329,480 to 6 deserving community agencies. Not only are we granting the most dollars of any year of the Women's Fund's existence, we are also awarding to the most agencies in any single year. This coming during a time when most nonprofits continue to face increased demand for services and untold funding challenges during a pandemic. For those counting, this brings our cumulative giving total to over $2.3 million. Yes, this year we went over the $2 million mark. We went well over, for a grand cumulative total of $2,305,635 given by the Women's Fund of Smith County to deserving women and children in our community. What an amazing moment to pause and to celebrate together. To continue our celebration, I am pleased to introduce our Vice Chair for Grants, Deborah Race. Deborah, thank you so much for your guidance and leadership of the Grants Committee that has guided us to our event tonight.
Thank you so much, Jonna. I want to say a special thank you to Jonna. As board chair, she attended, I believe, every single grant meeting, including our meetings where we spent 8 hours on Zoom. So when she said this year presented challenges, she was telling the truth. We did have almost all of our meetings were virtual via Zoom. I'd also like to recognize Kristen, who attended not only every meeting, but I know specifically delayed leaving so she could see us through the grant process. So we couldn't have done it without you, as well as Patty and now Zoe. It's been amazing. I want to thank the committee. The committee spent tireless hours this year. We made adjustments due to COVID. Because of COVID, all of you are aware that we changed our grant process this year to allow agencies to apply for what we called core funding, which is the basic needs. It's a lot to expect during a pandemic for an agency to come up with a new project when a lot of times they just need the money to keep the lights on. So we did make changes this year, and I think they worked well. The committee worked well. We had everybody just about attended every meeting, and we have some wonderful advisors with whom we couldn't do this. So I want to say thank you to the committee, and I want to say again, 2020 presented some challenges, and it was a different kind of year. With this year, though, we presented the membership with a record number of agencies from whom to vote. And once the membership voted, after all the Zoom meetings and all the countless hours and everything else, we came up with 6 of, I think, probably some of the most amazing organizations in our community to receive grants this year. And so in just a second, I'm going to introduce all of them, but if I could ask them to go ahead and come up and line up kind of in the order of appearance, and then we'll go there. But again, something I wanted to stress is the committee's work is invaluable, but the Women's Fund membership, you make the ultimate decisions. And again, we sent a record number this year, and I was so very, very excited that we could grant 6 agencies, the most to whom we have ever awarded grants. And with no further ado, I'm going to get started with our grant presentations, and I'd like to welcome Dr. John English up, who is the CEO and Medical Director of Bethesda Health Clinic, which is our first recipient this evening. And his wife is here too, Grace English. And I'm going to ask John, and if Grace wants to chime in, to tell us a little bit about Bethesda and what they hope to do with their grant.
Well, thank you very much. We're very honored to be able to receive this grant this year, and certainly 2020 was a crazy year with COVID, and certainly in the medical field, a lot of challenges there. So as many of you may know, we serve the working uninsured adult population in Smith County. And so these funds are going to go for those hardworking women who are needing medical services, and particularly those women who are going to need special exams, labs, and also some newer technology for some new procedures we're going to be able to do at the clinic. So we're excited for that. Very honored to receive this award, and thank you for all the women here for allowing us to be a recipient.
Okay, and with that, it's the good stuff. I'm excited to present this check to Bethesda for $68,980. Congratulations. Yeah, and you can take your check. Next up, we have the Children's Advocacy Center and Terry Smith. And we all are familiar with this wonderful agency, and I'd like Terry to tell us a little bit more about the agency and what you plan to do.
Thank you, Deborah. In spite of COVID this year, we saw more children come through our agency than ever before. 873 children came for forensic interviews to tell their story of physical abuse or sexual abuse or witnessing some horrific crime in our community. And we stayed open every single day during this pandemic to work with our partners in law enforcement and CPS and the district attorney's office. But we're so thankful for all of you and for what you've done, because I think sometimes about how lonely it must be to be a child who's suffering the unimaginable, and they must think no one cares, no one knows. How I wish they knew about you, how I wish they knew that you had all come together to provide funds so that when they come to the Children's Advocacy Center, we can provide the services they need. So from the very bottom of our hearts and from their little hearts, thank you.
Thank you, Terry. I'm excited to present Children's Advocacy Center with a check for $62,000. And before I get to the next one, because I meant to introduce Betsy Hahn, who is going to be me next year, the Assistant Vice Chair of Grants for next year. So Betsy is helping me by presenting the checks. And next we have the Christians Women Job Corps, Leslie Jones, who's going to tell us a little bit about what they do. It's a wonderful organization, and what you plan to do with the money.
All right. Thank you so much for selecting Christian Women's Job Corps. It is our mission to equip women with job skills and life skills in a Christ-centered environment. We do this primarily through our 12-week employment readiness program. And I must say, it is truly amazing to get to see the transformation that takes place in these ladies as they develop computer skills, confidence, direction, and hope for their futures in Jesus. In 2020, we adapted to ever-changing needs and learned that much can be accomplished through Zoom. The Women's Fund grant will allow us to meet the at-home technology and internet needs of our students. This gives us peace of mind in knowing that no matter what comes our way, limited resources will not prevent them from being able to complete their classes and graduate. The grant will directly benefit women and their families as they gain sustainable employment and so much more. From the bottoms of our hearts and on behalf of the many lives touched by your generosity, thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm excited to present you, or we are excited to present you with a check for $43,500. And next, we have Whitney Patterson, who most of you in the room know from the Literacy Council. And Whitney, you want to tell us about you and your organization and what you're going to do with the money?
Sure, of course. Thank you so much, Deborah. I want to first of all thank the Women's Fund Grants Committee. If you've never been involved in this process or been on that committee, you might not know how many hours they really do put in, so thank you guys. So it's my honor to serve as the Executive Director of the Literacy Council of Tyler, and it's also my honor to be a part of this incredible giving circle of women that I continue to learn and grow so much from. The Literacy Council of Tyler was founded in 1990, and we believe in the power of education for all adults. The reason that we're such a perfect pair for the Women's Fund is that about 70% of all of our students are female, and the vast majority of those females are mothers, many of them single mothers, many of them young children. I could tell you example after example. Even through the craziness of COVID, that seems to be a trend, right? We served just over 1,500 individuals in Tyler. We have so many different programs that it would take me way longer than a couple of minutes to tell you about, but if you're interested, I'd love to tell you more. This funding means that we, just like everyone else has said, this funding is so important to us because it allows us to serve our students in the ways they need it and without restriction. So thank you. We appreciate it so much, and it's very meaningful. Thank you.
Well, we're pleased to present you with a check for $50,000 for the Literacy Council. Congratulations. Next, we have Andrea Wilson from PATH, and most of you are familiar with PATH. PATH does more things, again, than you can talk about in 1 minute. I know I volunteered there years ago, but if you could tell us a little bit about what y'all are planning to do with this particular grant.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your support of PATH's mission as we provide hope to families in a year that so many needed it, right? We are planning on using this funding to keep mothers and children from being evicted from their homes. That is such a growing need. We've seen lots of growing needs in Tyler, especially at PATH, with the changes of things that are happening to people's families that couldn't have been planned for. We see about 450 to 500 families who need rent assistance every month on a normal basis. COVID has just increased that. So with your help, we're going to be able to reach more mothers and children, keep them stably housed so the kids stay in the same school and they don't have to move from place to place. And you all know how important that is. So with your help, we'll continue to provide that hope to families. So thank you very much.
And we're pleased to present you with a check for $60,000 to PATH for rent assistance. Thank you. And finally, we have Dr. Valerie Smith from St. Paul Children's Foundation. And again, Dr. Smith is here to tell us a little bit about what St. Paul does and what they're going to do with their grant.
Thank you so much to the Women's Fund of Smith County for helping to support St. Paul Children's Services. I am honored to get to work alongside our staff and volunteers in our medical clinic, dental clinic, family education services, and food pantry. This year has been a hard year for our families, as you've heard from all of the other nonprofits today. Many of them lost loved ones to COVID. Children have struggled with distance learning and isolation. We have many families who have lost jobs or childcare. And so one of the things that we aimed to do in 2021, this funding is going to allow us to do, which is to hire a social worker to help work individually with families so they can set up plans, access services, and identify their needs so that they can move towards stability. We thank you so much for investing in St. Paul's and for investing in Smith County.
Well, thank you, and we're happy to give you a check for $45,000 to your mission, to St. Paul's Children's Foundation. Thank you so much. And with that, that concludes our presentation, but I would once again, and you've heard from each of the agency representatives, these are absolutely wonderful partners for the Women's Fund. We're so proud of each one, and we're happy that the Women's Fund could help you get through a challenging year, and hopefully 2021 will get better. So I'd like to throw it back over to Jonna and Zoe. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Deborah, and thank you, Betsy, and congratulations to the 6 deserving nonprofit agencies awarded tonight. As we conclude for the evening, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the staff of the Women's Fund of Smith County, our president and CEO, Zoe Lawhorn, who it's been a pleasure getting to know and work alongside, and to Patty Machen, our executive director, who is always a database of knowledge and a constant in our giving circle. We recognize you in the room, and you joining us live stream, the members of the Women's Fund of Smith County, over 300 ladies. Our circle was created in 2007 by a group of inspiring women, our charter members, some joining us live and some joining us through the Facebook live stream. These ladies ignited a spark with an idea of collective giving in Smith County that has now resulted in giving of grants totaling over $2.3 million to deserving women and children. Tonight, we celebrated the very heart of our mission through the grants that our Giving Circle collectively award, and together we impact the lives of women and children in the community. As a reminder, our circle is open to any woman with a giving heart, and I encourage anyone that is interested, or if this fits you, to please reach out and to learn more about our Giving Circle. You can also visit our website to find out why we say, together is better.
Well, wow, what an honor it is to share this experience with all of you. These grant awards and the impact they make is made possible by the membership of Women Who Give. I would like to say one quick word of thanks to Robert Dodd and his media team called Promo Media. They are the ones who are behind the scenes making this all happen virtually for us, and we really, truly could not do
Yes.
it without them.
Thank you,
So
Robert.
thank you very much. And with that, and I say this with great relief, we conclude our first ever virtual 2021 Grant Awards. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we wish you peace, health, and joy in the coming year. Thank you.